When did you start doing music? Have you always been interested in it, or studying instruments and everything?
I've always loved music. I started writing songs when I was 15 and started playing keyboards at like 16, 17. But I've always loved music. I've always wanted to. That was my dream growing up, to be a singer-songwriter.
And have you been something like a club kid in the 80s? Because the stuff you did was really clubby sound, freestyle, they say it's freestyle influenced.
Well, it just evolved into the freestyle dance music. When I wrote the songs, they were like R&B tracks, laid back, when I wrote the song, I wasn't thinking, okay, what type song is this going to be? I was just thinking, this is a good song. It's a well-written song. So when I write, that's what my mindset is, not what, style it is or where would it fit, things like that.
And so, how did it happen with Sleeping Bag Records then? Did somebody hear your songs and said, oh wow, they're great, we have to do something with her?
Yes, it was a very long story, but I'll make it short. The way I was introduced to Will Sokoloff was the president of Sleeping Bag Records. And I was working in New York with an engineer named Robbie Watson, who took me in the studio. He gave me some free time. They call it spec time. In the studio, I sang for him, so he gave me studio time. And we worked on All in All. And he knew Will Sokoloff from Sleeping Bag Records. And he took the demo over to Will, and Will liked it. And that's how I met Sleeping Bag and those guys.
So you were really like, because I think for me Sleeping Bag was like very productive record label with some clubwear as well, like the Sleeping Bag logo on the back on jacket or t-shirts.
Right.
Was it like a little bit not like a factory, but a cool thing to be on that label?
It was a cool thing to be on that label at that time. Sleeping Bag was very popular, very hot. We had a lot of singles, hot singles coming out at the time. So I thought it was very cool to be on Sleeping Bag. Well, it was my first label, so it was the only label I knew, about that I was signed to anyway, So they treated me very good at Sleeping Bag.
And yeah, I bought a lot of records on that label. For me, it was like, oh, it's on Sleeping Bag. I don't have to listen to it. I can buy it because it was really like so much good stuff coming out, like Nocera, Summertime.
Exactly.
So did you have contact with the other artists on that label?
Oh, sure. Oh no, I still contact Nocera. She's still performing in New York. I contact them. Tila Rock, I've been in contact with. Even Kurtis, Mantronix, I've been in contact with. And those are the ones that I really, know I've been in contact with. Hanson and Davis. Aaron, I've done some stuff with him. He's funny. But yeah, I stay in contact with some of the artists.
Yeah, I know Hanson and Davis Hungry for You.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that sound.
Yeah.
And how was it then? Because you said the usual or the demos were really R&B-esque, and the what I think was really nice on the 12 inches, sometimes it's a soft version and then the hard version.
Right.
So how did that happen a bit?
Well, the sound at the time was club dance in New York. So when we were working on the tracks, we just put the backbeat to it. The song that you hear everything is the same from the demo, from when I recorded the demo. All the music, except the drums. And the drum and the bass line, we changed that. Everything else stayed the same. So it's just like now, they take a ballad, they do a remix, and they speed it up. And that's the same thing we did with those tracks. Just added the drum, the backbeat, and changed the bass line. And that's all we did.
And how was it working together with Kurtis Mantronix? Was it like really that they said, oh, we have a good producer for you, you should check him out, or how did that happen?
Well, yes, Will was really into Kurtis, well, Mantronix, and he was doing a lot of the production then at the time at Sleeping Bag. So that's how he got on my track as well. The initial track I did with Robbie Watson, like I mentioned before, and it wasn't what Will was looking for, so he gave Kurtis the track to Kurtis and to Mantronix, and he really liked what was happening. The good thing about the thing with Sleeping Bag at the time was we knew all the DJs, so it was like, okay, we're going to the club tonight. I got a new track, put it on. And so we look at the crowd reaction, and if it wasn't what we were looking for, okay, we got to go back in the studio. It didn't hit right, so that's what happened to a lot of the tracks.
So you were sneaking in the club, giving a copy to the DJ, and then watching the reaction a little bit on the dance floor?
Well, we didn't give it to him, but we got something, play it, check it out. So that's what was happening, yeah. And
did you go dancing very often?
Oh, yeah. Back then, yeah, of course. Yes.
And how was it performing then? I think you had to do a lot of PAs in the clubs because your stuff was really so popular, like Lifetime Love, All in All.
I did a lot of PAs. I was working all the time. Seemed like from Wednesday through Sunday. And if I was on tour, it was just weeks at a time. But I was constantly working. And if I wasn't touring or doing promotional spots, I was in the studio. So I was busy.
So it was really like a time, because I got to know your first records like All in All and Lifetime Love, and suddenly Come Into My Life came, and so many people loved it. It was so huge, but for me it was so funny because I knew your songs before, and then there came this slower thing, the ballad, and I was going like, this is fantastic, but she can do every kind of stuff.
Well, with Come Into My Life, well, things happened so fast when All in All hit, and I needed another single. So I had already written all these songs years ago, and before I even moved to New York City. So the demo that the original demo I used of Come Into My Life is what I was doing in the clubs. It hadn't even been recorded in the studio. So things were happening so fast, they rushed me back in the studio to do Come Into My Life because we needed the music, and then I needed the album. So, I mean, it was good because I had the material. So I just needed the time to get in the studio to record it.
Yeah, because it's the song, so many people remember it like a big song from their youth, because I remember it when I went clubbing and they played house music or like more commercial pop mainstream, like remixes. Then they had something like, we have 45 minutes of hip-hop and slower stuff, and then nearly every time when they had to go slower, Come Into My Life was played, and so everyone was going in the mood from sweaty dancing to, oh yeah, let's try this. So it was really different, I think.
It was different. It was different. It was, I don't know, it just happened. It just came together like that.
Yeah, and what I really liked when, I don't know if it was the original video clip or a performance when you're sitting at the piano.
Right,
and at first there was a light, a candle.
Right.
Was it the video clip?
That was a video. That was a video, Come Into My Life video. Yes.
And how was it then, going out of the States, like to Europe, because it hit so big here?
How was it going into Europe?
To Europe. Yeah. Have you been before performing in Europe, or was it the first time that you went there?
Yes, that was when All in All and Come Into My Life, when they came out. Traveling overseas was my first time traveling overseas, and that was an experience. But it was nice. It was good. But yes, that was my first time overseas, and I traveled overseas quite a bit.
And when you did your first album, I don't know, because how was it for you to be known as an artist then, with cover and everything? Like, for me, Joyce Sims was the name of Sleeping Bag Records, because I think it was the biggest thing on that label.
I mean, to me, it was a job, and that I love doing. So I didn't really stop to think about all that stuff. I was singing and recording, doing what I loved, and I knew that traveling, promoting, and what have you, it all came along with the territory. So I enjoyed it. So it wasn't, I enjoyed everything about it.
And how was it, the clubbing scene when you were, yeah, a teen? Where did you go? What kind of stuff did you listen to? Was it dance music or more R&B, a mixture?
When I listened to more soul R&B growing up, because I didn't grow up in New York City. I grew up in upstate New York near Canada. It's called Rochester. And so the music scene was totally different up there than as opposed to New York City, where it was clubs, a lot of club and house music, or like the garage sound was happening. I would listen to more like a Stevie Wonder back then, and Shaka Khan. I loved Shaka Khan. So it was more R&B, soul music that I grew up listening to.
So was it for you like that you were a dance artist at the time, or was it really a mixture? Because I read, I don't know if it's true, that Come Into My Life was like all in all a real crossover record.
Right.
Because it was the people who liked dance loved it, but the young people who usually like more R&B loved it as well.
Right, and that was strange. I mean, to me, because I could do a freestyle concert, I could do a mainstream concert, I could do a freestyle concert. It just depended on who the promoter was and what type of event it was going on at the time. So it was. I can't explain it. I can explain it.
For me, it was so funny because, of course, I grew up in Europe, but I went to America as a teen quite often. And for me, the sound which came from America was really like so energetic and like a mixture between like, I think freestyle like Hispanic sounds and Latin and a bit of Afro-American as well. So it was such a mixture for me. It was really like a kind of different culture.
Right.
Is it the same for you though?
It is. It's the same. It seems like I love New York City, so I record a lot in New York City, and it's just the excitement of the city and being there. And once you're in the studio, you can get so creative. There's so much stuff you can do once you're in the studio. And and if you, like I said, if you start with a great song and you have good producers around you, and everybody can work well together, it just gels and you come out with some good product. But the excitement, when I do music, I'm always so excited and hyper, I guess you could say hyper about it. And I work really hard on getting it just right, so.
And what were your influences then in the 80s, like when you wrote your stuff and when you were in the studio?
Stevie Wonder was like one of my biggest influences because he played and he sang and he was a writer as well. And I love Shaka Khan. I listened to all type of music, the bands, but he was one of my biggest influences. I learned every track he did, learned how to play it, sing them and everything, but he was one of my biggest influences. So
how was it for you then, the 80s dance scene? Because my episode is about dancing, I have to ask a little bit of dance. With the other bands or groups that came, like Sweet Sensation, or like from Miami, Exposé, was so many females around, like girl groups, like a dance Motown stuff or something like that. Everybody was so much female vocalists, which I really loved. Yes, I just did a show with Exposé and Judy Torres. It was a freestyle in New York before I came here, as a matter of fact, at the Nocera Theater. And they were all there. It was great. It was great. It was full house. But the dance scene is strong. It was fun working with. It's still fun when I do concerts with the girls. It's a lot of fun. Everyone's style was different. The way we sang, the music, the backbeat was very similar because it was dance music, but everyone had their own different style, the way they sang it, and they all had their own little show,
And so it just worked well together. And then the crowd was amazing, and they love everybody. So it's good. It still is good when I do concerts with them.
My question is, where was I? I should have gone there. So, yes, you were talking about style. I think nowadays it's missing a little bit because you hear a song and you don't know who is it? Is it Morrissey? Or is it Destiny's Child? Or is it somebody else? I really miss the different stuff.
Yeah, well, I miss. Well, you know what I think with today's music is the technology has changed so much. I mean, you don't have to be a musician now to put out a song. And taking nothing away from the musicians or the producers or what have you, because you still have to have the knowledge, how to use the software. But technology makes it so easy now. You can take get somebody to sing one line of a song and make a song out of it. Put the backbeat to it and the bass line. But I think some of the artists, or when you get an artist that writes their own music and can produce it, or at least know what style they want to do and stick to it, and not let someone else come in and persuade them to do it. Oh, you should sound like this, or the tempo should be like this if you want radio. Things like that's what's happening, and so it takes away from the creativity, the uniqueness of the artist. That's what I see happening.
Yeah, I think in the 80s the people had a bit more power for themselves to say, I want to do this and that. I think nowadays it's like a product, a big product. Exactly.
You listen to radio and when I listen anyway, every song is the same tempo. It's going to be 120, 125, 127, or an auto-tune crazy. So it's different now.
Auto-tune is good, yeah. That's really true. So much computer.
Yeah.
So, how was it for you then? Because your records were released on Sleeping Bag, and I think for Europe, for the UK, it was London Records.
London Records, right.
And sometimes for me, when you grow up in America, I think it's when you go to Europe then, and all the different countries where you have been to and performed, was it really strange for you, or have you been to the club scene as well and said, okay, yeah, I have to do some shows here, it's really cool, or was it very frightened a bit?
When I had never been to Europe or overseas until I started recording. So everything was, let me stop. I did a lot of the club in New York, so I did a lot of really big shows in big clubs around, not only New York, but all around the States. So I was used to the clubs and everything. But coming overseas was totally different because customs, for one thing. You got to get into the country first. And then but the people are great here. Once you get in the country, it's, and not having so much time. A lot of the times I would get here and I would go straight to a TV studio and from there to a rehearsal hall, rehearsing with the band, and maybe hit the stage the same night. So it was, they had to jam a lot of different things in one day because I was only here for a couple days and then I'm off again because so much was happening. But it was very different. It was different, but I enjoyed it. I was well taken care of. The people here were great. Great.
How was it for you now performing here at this Baltic Soul Weekend Festival? I haven't seen you on stage yet, but I will in 4 days. So
okay.
I'm really looking forward to it. But I heard from some friends that was a jamming session between the female singers. Was that true?
Oh yeah, the last night. All the singers. I think if they're speaking of when we closed out the show, everyone was there. George McCrae and Anne and Gloria, Kurtis, I think, and Garland Green was there. We all were there just having fun at the end of the show. Yeah, it was no competition. Melba was there, Melba Moore, and we were just having fun.
What I was really missing sometimes in the 80s, because R&B was really popular here in Germany, that there weren't so many artists coming over to perform. Because when you go to London, for example, it was way easier to watch a soul or R&B act or group. But here in Germany, it was really like, okay, perhaps 3 times a year or something.
Oh, wow.
Like that. It was really different.
Wow.
I think in the States, everybody is coming and performing.
Oh, well, I did quite a few shows in Germany, but yeah, I did quite a few shows, but they were not just all R&B soul shows. It was different. I was on with different acts, like pop, some mainstream, and it was a mixture when I would do shows here.
Do you think that coming back to the term like freestyle music, that it went mainstream in the end of the 80s? And for example, in the radio in America?
I don't think it went mainstream. No, I don't think it went mainstream. But it has its place on the radio. There's specialty radio stations that still play freestyle music, and there's always a freestyle concert going on somewhere in the States. So but I don't think it went mainstream. But they have a very large following in the States.
Yeah, it's funny that some kind of styles still there. Like
yes.
Freestyle that everybody has in their mind and their hearts.
Oh yes.
They want to listen to that.
Right, right.
So how about other musical genres? You said something about house. I think it became really, really big. So why didn't you take the route to do more house stuff? Did you want to do your own stuff and said, no, I'm not like this dance house artist, it wouldn't fit me?
Well, when house first came out, it was I had to get used to it. It was different. It was very different, and I just had to get used to it. I don't know if I was ready for it, or if the right producers. We didn't meet. I didn't hook up with the right producers to do the house music, and then like I said, when I write, I'm not thinking, oh, I need to write a house song. Yeah, I can't. I don't think that way. When I write a song, I say I got to write a great song. That's what I'm looking for. Can I write? I need to write a song that's going to make a difference in someone's life, or I got to tell a story. So it was. I had a different mindset, I guess you could say.
It was like the house era. I was growing up with it, and sometimes I thought, oh, it's also repetitive, like only the same stuff. Like, yeah, you can sing about hands in the air or move your feet or something like that. It's really like quite boring. Of course, there were really good tracks. Like
right.
Some like a little list here, like Joe Smooth's Promised Land, for example, is a little bit different. There's a lot of more heart in it.
Right.
Or Jack Your Body from Steve Saccarli. It's
Right,
really like classic.
yeah.
So, did you get more open for house then? Because on your second LP, I think Take Caution, My Heart is a little bit housey, isn't it?
Take Caution. Well, what was All About Love was the second CD, and I didn't go very house with that. But I think I had some remixes that were house. I know I did. I had remixes that were house. And I was coming around to it then. Well, the thing was, the producers the remixers started coming around, and it made sense. So the way they approached the song, so it made sense to me. If it was different. It wasn't like I call it the 4 on the floor through the whole song, and no changes. Is just the whole song is played the same way all the way through. But now, I mean, it evolved, and there's some great house music out now. The lyrics have changed. They're more soulful. The singers are great. They can really belt out the songs, and I like it now. I really like it. On my current CD, A New Beginning, there's a lot of house on it. I work with Junior Vasquez. He did some remixes for me, and Fishner, he did some remixes for me. So it's I did a lot of house on the third LP.
If we just like walk away from the first LP, like CNC, Listen Cold, the remix, I think your songs are really have this are very uplifting. Some lyrics, of course, can be sad, but for me, when I listen to them, it's really like uplifting. I think that's missing nowadays a little bit in the club music.
Right. I mean, I always try to, when I write, to, like I said, to make a difference in someone's life, or write about inspirational. Like my last CD was very inspirational. I even had some gospel tracks on it. But if you can listen to a song and you can be having a bad day or just going through a bad situation in your life, and listen to some of the tracks, and it can make you feel, better for a little while anyway, at least 3 or 4 minutes. But my thing is trying to touch people and to make a difference. And if I feel if I can do that, then okay, some of my work is done.
Yeah, I think still with Coming to My Life, it was so funny because the friend who was at the festival, she said, oh, Joyce Sims was performing, and somebody wrote on Facebook, oh, Coming to My Life, some of the lyrics, and there was another girl, oh my god, I was looking for this song so long and I didn't know who it was. Thank you so much, I will buy it on iTunes. I was like, that's great.
Oh yeah, that is great.
The music is, after
wow.
20 years.
I know it. That's great.
And I really, what do you think about, because I really like YouTube, that you can watch the old stuff.
Right.
Young people can get to know like performances of video clips.
Yeah.
Do you like that as well? Do you go on it as well sometimes to see some stuff?
Oh, yes. Yes, and then I find people will post old things that I didn't know I had on myself, and it's a good chuckle every now and then. But yeah, I love YouTube. I like YouTube a lot. I look at it.
Is it like because when you watch some old performances, I think you have never been the dancey type who does like a choreography for the songs,
right.
like All in All, A Lifetime Love.
Right.
But when you see some performances, what I really like when there was a performance by you, or like Shannon, I saw a performance of Shannon, and there were all these young kids dancing around her, and I really loved that kind of shows. I'm missing it a little bit. Did you have some performances like that?
I did some in the States where I would have the dancers on stage with me. I know I did some at the Apollo, and that was great. It was so much fun. I had the dancers, they choreographed their routine and everything, and it was really fun. It depends on, I do it sometimes. It depends on how much time I have, and if I can get good dancers, I'll use dancers. It's nice. I like it.
And how is the reaction when you perform All in Lifetime Love? Do you really see in the audience when you perform, these guys know it's like, hello Joyce, oh my god.
Oh yeah. When I perform All in All, they're singing the song. Sometimes they're singing the song louder than I am, and it's funny. But it's great. They know every word. It's great. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I think that these songs are really like classics, and they bring the people back in the mind in the good old days or something like that.
Exactly.
But it's really still, of course, good music, and I think it's missing a little bit. In the 90s, there was so much trashy music coming out, like especially from Europe. I'm sorry for that, like Eurodance, with a male rapper and a female singer. It was so like, ugh. There was nothing in this music, no heart or something.
Well, no comment.
Okay. So, do you have some favorite dance tracks that you really love from the 80s? Like maybe like Freeze, I or You or something?
Oh man, there's so many of them from the 80s. Like Rainy Davis. Oh my goodness, there's so many of them. Oh, jeez. I can't even call her. I don't know. Help me, Errol.
Debbie Deb?
Yeah, of course, Debbie Deb. I still,
Debbie Deb and her music. What's so special about that?
she's such a nice person for one thing. I do a lot of shows with Debbie Deb. She has a new single coming out, and but she's really sweet. I hear the music. Yeah, I like. Yeah, I like her stuff. It's freestyle. So when she sings, she's singing it, and the lyrics are good. But yeah, Debbie Deb. Then there's Exposé. Oh yeah, of course. Lisa. There's so many of them. TKA. I'm not sure. Yeah, those guys are good. And they're all good people, and they're all good friends of mine. So it's really nice. They're good people. Naobi. I don't know. And she yes. So I love a lot of the stuff from the '80s. It's go on and on.
Did you say all the names of the favorite artists from the 80s? Like Naobi, it's related. You should give me some contacts after the interview because I would like to do some more interviews.
Oh, sure.
You can hook me up with some of them.
I just
TKA or so.
Yes.
Debbie Deb.
Oh yeah, I just did a concert with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be in the States from the middle of May on.
Okay.
So are they still in New York, everybody? Or?
TKA is in New York. Debbie Deb is in New York. Exposé is they're in Miami. Lisa is in New York.
Yeah, so perhaps you can give me some.
I have no problem going to Miami.
Yeah. Call me Miami.
Yeah.
So perhaps you can give me some context from management or work.
Okay.
To them would
Sure.
be nice because I still need some more artists from.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Back to you.
Okay.
Did you get to know something like this acid house scene with the smiley logo when you were in the States, or was it like a big cliche? What's going on with the smiley and the music?
I don't know much about the acid rock, but I the acid house I did have heard it, but I couldn't tell you about the artist. That was too fast for me.
It was like, what's going on with this weird parties?
You're right. Well, I knew what was going on at the party, so that wasn't my thing. So I couldn't get into the acid house.
So can you tell me perhaps a story about a fun party you had where it was really a lovely club night? Something funny happened, or you met some people? A nice story, sad story.
Well, that happened at a club or during a performance, or
yeah, at a club, or perhaps first at a club and then next part of the question, the performance.
It's a lot of them. I remember it was where was I with what's his name? You don't have to take your clothes off. You're right. Yeah, I remember when I loved his music, and I think I was just coming out around that time, and I think I was in New England, and we did a show together, and he was so nice, and I had to share his limousine because I think mine left or something, And we partied. I think we partied all night after the show. And he said, "Oh, I didn't have a ride back to the hotel." So after we partied all night in the club and dancing and everything, he was like, "Okay, well, we'll take you home, Joyce." So I thought that was very nice of him. But we had a really good time in the club that night as well.
So he took care of you with that?
Yeah. Yes.
And during some performances, did something funny happen? You said during a concert, sometimes the fans sing your songs louder than yourself.
Yes, that happened as well. But this one I'll never forget. I was in Amsterdam, and I was singing. I had on this little dress with the straps, right, the little spaghetti straps. So one of the straps broke on stage while I was singing, and so I had to grab this. I'm holding the mic with this hand, and I'm holding the scrap with this hand, and trying to play it off, still singing my song, doing my little thing and everything. The guy out in the audience like, "Let it go, Joyce!" I was like, "Oh my God, no!" So after that song ended, I ran off stage, changed clothes, and came back out. like nothing happened. But waited the next day in the newspaper, somebody said, Joyce Sims, she's making a lot of money. Can't she buy some clothes that fit? So that was kind of, I said, okay, very good. I'll never forget that. Okay.
It's a really funny story. Well, do you remember which song you sang? Does it come into my life? I think it wasn't.
No, I think it was a Lifetime Love. It was a fast one, but I know when this crowd said, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do?" So I'm singing and still holding the script. Let it go. I was like, "Oh no."
It would be like it's something like an invitation. When the song come into my life, go like,
Oh no.
That was the first wardrobe malfunction.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, definitely.
It's a lovely story.
Definitely.
I feel the heat here now. Oh my God.
So.
Yeah, it's really
Oh
cool.
my God.
So, as you said, with the latest album, New Beginning, you worked together with Junior Vasquez, and I think
Right.
he's a really huge, icon as well on the dance.
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
I think in the 80s he was working with Shep Pettibone a bit,
Right.
producer, and then evolved into his own stuff.
Right.
So, what I can get into really is like this circuit sound, like very uplifting but really hard New York sound sometimes.
Right.
Even where, like the gay clubs, for example. I think there is something missing in the sound because it's also, they're really hard. And I think they lost the heart, but when it gets so hard with music, what do you think about that? Is it really like different now?
It's changing a little bit, but like you're seeing that hard sounds kind of like an industrial sound where it's stripped down, but it's very metallic like. And but the thing I like about Junior's production is he takes, well, with my tracks anyway, and I hear it with a lot of his tracks. He takes you through like a theatrical play. There's a beginning, the build-up of the music before the vocals even come in. And it just takes you through a whole little production, like a theatrical production. And I really like that about his mixing. He wasn't all about, oh, how great can I make this remix? But he really listened to my vocals, and he worked around my vocals and worked with the vocals. So that's what I really liked about working with Junior. And Glenn Fishner, he did the same thing as well. So
I read about some stuff which people said about your singing style, that it's really, really unique, and that that's missing sometimes nowadays as well, I think, because they all sound the same, or as you say, they belt out their tunes, but you go like, ugh, it's really. Yeah, you have a voice, but don't use it as a weapon.
As a weapon, okay. Wow.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
And you go like, they're not an American Idol here.
Okay. That's funny. Well, you're right. There's a lot of great voices out there, and then then it's questionable: are they really singing or is it auto-tune? So you can't tell, but I don't know. Your voice is your instrument, so I use mine as an instrument. With the highs and lows. It's a blessing. It's a God-given talent, but I still have to nurture it and train myself and everything. So, as I sing a song, I want the emotions to come through. With the words that I'm singing, the emotion and the tone of my voice to fit the lyrics that I'm singing, and I work a long time. I work hard at that. It's not easy, but to belt out a song, we can belt out a song. So, but it's then it comes in the styling part comes in. You got to have some style with it, or that's what I think. There's a lot of great singers out there, like you said, that just wail from the beginning to the end. And if that's their style, I'm not knocking it, but I don't sing that way.
Questions for my colleague who is doing the hip-hop and R&B episode as well.
Okay.
gave me 5 questions that I should ask you as well.
Okay.
Are you really into hip-hop music?
Some. I like some hip-hop music, some hip-hop art. I love Jay-Z. And I like some of 50 Cent's. Kanye West, well, I don't know if he's hip-hop or what, but I love his music. Quite a few. But I listen to our hip-hop.
And how was it in the 80s when the phenomenon hip-hop really came into view in the beginning of the 80s or in the middle of the 80s? Was it for you like, oh my god, so many artists coming out?
You know what, in the 80s, I was so busy in the 80s until, I wouldn't have known who came. I mean, I knew what was happening and everything, but I don't know, things were just happening too fast in the 80s. But I was aware of what the music, and a lot of the artists I would meet while I was on the road. And so that's how I knew what was happening as well. Unless I had a chance to read the Billboard or the charts wherever this beat, that beat, the chart, and different chart magazines. But so much was happening in the 80s. Yeah, I don't know.
So, until you realized that it was the 90s then. Okay. Did you believe in this sustainability of this music, that it will still last until today?
Wow, the sustainability of the the freestyle, the R&B, the classics. I had no idea that All in All or the Come Into My Life, the tracks or that era of music would last and be as strong as it is today. I had no idea, and it still amazes me. I get young kids coming up. Oh, I love your song. My mom plays it all the time. I'm like, okay, so, thank you, sweetie. But it's amazing. It's really amazing. I mean, little children, they know the song, they know the music. So it's amazing. I had no idea it would last this long.
Yeah, really good songs really survive over the years. It's really some you forget, and some you really cherish.
Yes, yeah.
And there was when disco was in the 70s, there was this kind at the beginning of the 80s, a disco sucks movement. And do you think that has been a conflict between disco music and hip hop, or did it evolve somehow, like hip hop out of disco?
How did disco and what was the question?
Yeah, I think because disco ended and then hip hop arrived a little bit, and because you can say that the song like Rapper's Delight with the licks from Cheek or Nile Rodgers-esque, mixed disco and hip hop a little bit, like the first rap sound. Is that true?
Well, yeah, when you think about it, disco, as disco ended, like the freestyle and the rap came in at the same time. I think, and they did. They blended some of the disco licks with hip hop tracks, as well as the when the freestyle came. Well, no, freestyle didn't. That was different. But I think the disco and the hip hop, it did gel a little. It did.
And I think that freestyle came out of like Planet Rock from Africa Bambaataa, which was really
exactly
kind of sound. Then
right.
Shannon came
right.
and everything like Arthur Baker productions like Rocker's Revenge or I Owe You for Freeze.
Right.
It all evolved somehow.
Right. I think after the disco era, Shannon came out, was really big. And then the Africa Bambaataa, like you're saying, and those different songs came out, but they all kind of like were following right behind one another, they gelled together. So yeah, it did. Yeah.
And do you like the band Public Enemy? And if yes, why? And if not, why not?
Public Enemy, I did when they came out. I loved the music because I loved the production, the beats. They were hard beats, but I don't know. It was like soulful. They were hard beats. It was political. Some of it was political, but I mean, a lot of it was political. But the beat, excuse me, I really liked the beat. It was it's like exciting music. It was hyper, and I liked what they were doing, and there was so many of them, and so it was always good to see. Or you never know what they were going to do on stage or in the video, what was going to happen. So it was just so much happening at all the time with Public Enemy and with Flavor Flav. You know, he was an artist by himself within a group. So I enjoyed Public Enemy.
And now Flavor of Love.
Well,
1, 2, 3.
I enjoyed Public Enemy.
Yes, I love the music as well, but nowadays it's so funny to see him
Yes.
in the series. Like,
Yeah, that's another story.
quite an entertainment. And how did you or your environment react to the first gangster rappers from LA towards the end of the 80s? Did you like that, or was it too hard for you?
Like NWA, they were kind of hard. They were kind of hard. I didn't really I knew their music and I enjoyed some of their music, but not all of it. You know, they got into different language and things like that, so I didn't really get into it very much.
Yes, you say the lyrics, like it's like the women's hostility somehow. It's like negative reactions against supposed to be bigger groups. How is that? Can you agree on that? That the lyrics were sometimes too hard or too aggressive against women sometimes?
Well, I mean, their lyrics were expressing themselves. So, I mean, they were speaking what they felt at the time, you know, so I can't knock it, what they were saying. But I don't agree with any artist that's disrespecting any group of people, especially women, or degrading anybody. I don't support that type of music at all. I mean, you know, you have freedom of speech and everything, that's fine, but still, you have to respect, I feel you should respect everybody. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's true. And do you find a question from the other group here? How do you see the current civil rights situation of black people in the US? Has hip-hop changed, improved, or deteriorated?
Hip-hop has improved a great deal in the US. The hip-hop artists, they have more power, they have more money, they have more exposure. And they have the mic in their hands, so they can say whatever they feel. And with the internet, and I mean, there's no stopping them. Right now, because of the internet, because of technology, and there's a lot of very smart hip hop artists out there that know how to market themselves, know where to market themselves. So, I think they're very educated. A lot of them are. I mean, even if they come out with a little song, you know, that doesn't make much sense, but it's selling, it's on the charts. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah. Okay. Final question then for the 80s. Of course, the style has to come up. The clothes, the hair, and everything. Is it for you when you see it like now, oh my God, I shouldn't have worn that? Or was it like, I'm fine with it? Was
Oh my God.
Time?
That's so funny you say that. Yeah, the style from the 80s is a bit comical right now. As a matter of fact, a DJ gave me a picture last night that he took of me in Germany in '89 when I first came out. I was such a rookie. And I had on this, I mean, it was okay. But to look at it now, I was like, wow, what was I thinking? But it's okay. I mean, for that time, it was what it was. I mean, I wouldn't wear it today. But yeah, it's funny when I look back at old pictures. But, it's okay because you keep changing, evolving and everything. But The 80s, I mean, I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't take back anything from the 80s because I learned from everything that happened. So, but yeah, it's very funny looking at old pictures in film. Very funny.
And how is it like singing "Come Into My Life"? It's like, oh my God, I've sung this song so many times. It's the huge hit follows you, of course,
Right.
every day of your life. But I think there's so much emotion as well with when the people sing it or
Right.
children come to you, as you said.
Right. I mean, you're right. I've sang "Come Into My Life" thousands of times, but it's always for a different audience. And there's always someone in that audience that has never heard me sing that song before. So I'm mindful of that. And then when I sing it anyway, I love singing. I love what I'm doing. So when I see the faces, you know, the people, the fans, and they just, oh man, they make you feel so good. They're so excited and they just want to hear that song. And so I'm always giving my all, just my best, trying to leave it all on the stage. And so when I finish, that I've given the best performance that I could.
Yeah, no, I think it's really a sexy song because it's like a journey as well. The beginning, it's like, and then it goes down, and then the rhythm comes in, and you go like, that's that, the disco. Is it a sexy song?
Well, it's a love song. So it's a love song, but it's sang in a like a laid back, sexy kind of way because of the ahs and the things like that that's in it, and like it takes you on like a little journey. It's what I'm trying to take you on anyway when I'm singing it, and so yeah, it's it's a love song. So I want you to feel the love, and if you don't feel it, go find the love. So.